Well, good morning, everybody. This is Jason, but you already knew that. On this rainy Hoosier day, heading into work. Not the most ideal conditions today, unfortunately. It seems like when I've done these live streams in the last couple weeks, months, or whatever, it's been a pretty good day weather-wise, but today, not so much. So, that's unfortunate. Hopefully that's not a prelude of what is to come. Because if you don't know, a typical literary plot point or in a story, in a movie, in a book, like whenever there water's involved or rain's involved, usually means something bad is about to happen. So let's hope that's not the case here, right? I don't want that to be the case here. I don't want that to be the beginning of the day of the wheels falling off because of the rain and the weather, for sure. So I'm heading into work. My drive to work is about a half hour, a little bit more maybe. Not too bad. It's the furthest I've ever had to drive to work, except when I lived in Japan. My Japanese drive was every bit of a 40 to 45 minute drive. So I'm used to it, but definitely sucks. Because most of the time that I had jobs, I'm at work in like minutes, you know. Like sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes like 10 or 15. So having to like do this driving nowadays, back in the olden days when I had no problems, but now it's a little bit longer. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. What you got to do to make that scratch, make that bread. It is what it is. But I was going to tell you, I don't know if people have noticed this. I thought it was interesting that over the weekend, it's been going on for a little bit, I think, but definitely this past weekend, it really like went to the next level. That I've never seen anything like this before, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is some sort of comparison, possibly. But the crossover to sports and with the whole like Trump dance, I thought was hilarious. You have all these people now, these college students, you have pro athletes, you have football players, you have UFC fighters, you have college campuses doing this silly but yet endearing, charming Trump dance. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that in America before, with that level of crossover appeal. I could be wrong, but I mean, all the presidents I was around over the years, I don't think anybody broke through that culture. I don't think people really would. I mean, and at the level of trying to keep it down, also, you had old Barry that people were propping up and was walking on water. He could do no wrong. And I don't think even he had the level of crossover appeal that Trump has, which up until recently, in the last week or so, was compared to the worst of the worst leaders around the world, of all the WW2 leaders and all that jazz. And all his followers were in the same camp. So for that level of demonization to then cross over to people doing the dance on the fields and on the octagon and on the campuses of these colleges and all that, it's pretty remarkable, regardless of where you fall in this, the politics. Like, there has to be some sort of acknowledgement, as Roman Reigns says, "Acknowledge me." There has to be some sort of acknowledgement that says this guy has been through legitly the ringer and somehow has come out on top every time. So much so, now you have kids that are in their late teens into their early 20s. Every time they score a touchdown or make a good play, they're out there doing the little Trump dance. You have UFC fighters doing the Trump dance. I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. It's funny. It's kind of endearing to these people. And the other crazy thing is, I mean, it's people from all different kinds of backgrounds and races. And this is again something that you were told that, you know, Trump was this like horrible white supremacist racist and blah blah blah. And then you have obviously that's not true. And you have all these players doing these dances and, like, you know, singing his praises. And it's just, it's incredible. It's truly incredible. I've never seen anything like it before. You know, I remember Bill Clinton back in the day was really popular. He came out on MTV. That's when back in the day when they did in the 90s was Rock the Vote. I don't know if people remember that. You youngsters probably don't remember that too often, but us Gen Xers remember that was a huge thing. I remember when Bill Clinton, I was going to say Clint Eastwood. Bill Clinton came out with his saxophone on MTV, and then he did it also, I think, like on, you know, one of the like late night shows, playing his saxophone to try to appeal to a younger audience and show he was cool and he was down and hip. And that was back on MTV days when they first started getting political to a degree, of course, trying to rock the vote. I just never forgot that. I mean, that was a little bit of an appeal, like a crossover appeal, but nothing like this. I mean, you know, you had like a little segment here and there with old Billy C, where he would sit there and play his saxophone like Lisa Simpson, and that was about the extent of it. And then he kind of went away. All that went away, and then, you know, whatnot. But then, like, Trump, you know, it was just crazy. Like John Jones did the Trump dance inside the octagon, and then he put Trump over, because obviously the UFC, they're gonna let their guys talk. Like, they're an organization that supports free speech and freedom of thought and freedom of expression. They're not gonna tell what their fighters can or can't say or can or can't do. And so he gets up there and like puts over Trump and then doing his little dance, and then, hey, good morning. And then I'm sorry, I'm trying to read, but I'm obviously driving, so I'm not gonna try to like sit there and like read religiously there. But then, like, you know, Trump like does his little dance back. It's kind of hilarious. You know, it just is mind-boggling, the crossover. And like I said, I just never seen it like it. You know, I have a child that's a high schooler, and he says that, you know, all him and his friends, you know, find it amusing or entertaining, or you know, enjoy that. Obviously, I'm not a teenager. I'm far from it nowadays. And to hear that and to see that and understand that, it's kind of crazy, to be honest. Dana White will win the match. I don't know. I mean, I think he already talked about it. You know, again, I'm not saying Dana White's perfect. No one's perfect. It's been addressed. He's obviously said that he's not a fan of, he was obviously regretted what he did. Apparently, it was a heated moment. They both had some back and forth, and not that it's ever okay to do any of that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's not a unique thing to him. That's for sure. That is for sure. So I don't think that let's be honest here. Every day there is people who have poor judgment and do poor things, right? And those people deserve to be asked for, be forgiven. And plus, it's none of our business at the end of the day also. If they work things out, great. If they don't work things out and they get a divorce and he gets taken for all his money or whatever, then That's what happens. I don't get hung up on that kind of thing. I don't know if you're alluding to new allegations. I haven't heard anything like that. You're talking about the one incident. It's already been addressed. So yeah, I mean, again, no one's perfect. No one. If you're perfect, I'd like to know what that looks like, because I know that's not what reality says. But I like how when anytime somebody does something that they can try to paint someone in a negative light, if it's an opposing opinion, they make it sound like it's the end-all be-all, that this person is a piece of garbage and they're terrible and all this. But when it's somebody on the other end, they excuse the behavior away. Like, you know, Bill Clinton sleeping with his secretary and all that, or Kamala Harris's husband beating up his girlfriend, smacking her around, and that never gets discussed. About Kamala Harris sleeping her way to the top, and that's okay. But when Trump slept with other women, that's bad. You know, so again, you know, we could do this kind of tit for tat, wink wink, all day long. It's only convenient when it's somebody that you oppose, you're against, either their policies, their political party, their philosophies. Then it's okay to have those conversations. But when you say, well, what about this? What about that? You're like, oh, well, you know, now there's some, you know, discussions that need to be made, or there's some conversations that need to be more debated. It's just very interesting. My own family members love to do that, actually. They love to bring up, you know, the faults of the people they don't like. But when you tell them, well, what about your guy or your gal? What about this or that? Oh, they don't have anything to say about that. You know, I'm the first one to admit, you know, I'm not perfect. I screw up. I like, either, you know, personally and privately, my own personal lives, or publicly, or public figures. There's certain deal breakers, of course. If you're going to be hanging out with P. Diddy to have a P. Diddy party, I don't want nothing to do with you. If, you know, you got into a drunken stupor with your spouse and you do dumb stuff, then you should be held accountable for that, whatever that is, whatever the law says. If you work things out and get things worked through, then all right, time to move on. I'm not married to the guy, or I'm not married to the gal that does that. That's a personal decision. That's just like people who get in relationships with a spouse and they have affairs. Then you can think whatever you want about that person, but if they decided to work it out and stay in the marriage, then okay, what do you have to say about it? It's not your marriage. What does it matter to you if they stay together, if they get divorced? How does that make your day any different? So, you know, I don't know. Like Bill Clinton's a perfect example. He had an affair, at least 2 or 3, because it was not just with Lewinsky. There was Apollo Jones, there was somebody else, and Hillary Clinton, for whatever reasons you want to say, for political reasons, for whatever reasons, stuck by her man. You know, so there you go. So Dana White's wife, for whatever reason, they got into an altercation. Once cooler heads prevailed, things worked themselves out. I haven't heard anything more about it. You know, it is what it is. Doug Emhoff slapped around his babysitter or whatever, like au pair, apparently, that he was having an affair with, but then she was telling everybody that he was abusive to her, but that never got any play. No one ever denied it, but they never asked him about it. So, I mean, this kind of thing that can go on and on and on. Trump obviously is no Boy Scout. We all know that. He's had, 3 or 4 wives, and I'm sure he's had many affairs that he were aware of. Again, these people are not my minister. They're not my counselors. I don't go for them for marriage advice. You know, and they're there. If I think about them, if we're talking about politically, I go towards people I feel like give me a best chance at my life to have a better life. Like, I'm not a fan of Roman Polanski because he's a known rapist, a child rapist, but everybody in Hollywood thinks he's the best thing ever. They still shower him with accolades, even though if he ever comes back to America, he would get arrested because he fled America. But everybody still talks about how great he is, and he still shows up in movies, and they still talk about him being a great director. But here we are, 40-something years later, what was the guy? What's the Woody Allen? Same thing. Woody Allen kind of relationship with his adoptive daughter. He kicked his wife to the curb. Mia Farrow. I mean, we can have this conversation all day long. So it's kind of ridiculous when people just be like, "Oh, well, what about this one situation with this one guy blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, we could go down that path all day long. But hopefully that, has a little bit of an insight about it. But, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I do find it interesting to see that. I don't know how long it'll last. I guess an overall feeling of optimism is kind of currently where I'm at. What I've gathered to see, even people who are not on the Trump train, choo choo. So we'll see how it looks. I mean, it's not January quite yet, so nothing quite yet. But we're all hearing political leaders are getting in step with what's going to happen around the world, so that's good. China's already ready to play ball, saying that they want to make things work out, get on task. So that's good. Russia and Ukraine sounds like they're trying to get things figured out now all of a sudden, which is nice. So we'll see. I mean, I hope this is the thing is, regardless of who's in power, I think I would hope we all want America to be successful. We want America to be safe. We want us to have a safe country. We want to be financially successful. We want ourselves to get more money and have pay less. I don't know how any of these things are controversial ideas. And if he does do it, great. If he doesn't, then there will be the last of him regardless. It'll be the last of the Republican Party for a long time too. So, he has a huge mandate to get things done. If he doesn't get it done, then we got a problem on our hands. And that's the thing that people aren't forgetting, I think. So people are forgetting that at the end of the day, he's made a lot of bold statements. And now he has to take that personal Pepsi challenge that he gave himself to see if he comes through on it. If he doesn't come through, then yeah, he's gonna be setting himself up for failure, and JD Vance and anybody else in the future, because he talked a big game and did not deliver. So we will see. Hey, what's up, bro? What up, Joe? Yeah, Doctor Exclusive. The roads it's a little dicey this morning, bros, to be honest with you. A little dicey. It's raining. It's raining, man. Hallelujah. It's raining, man. No, it's not raining, man, thank God, because I don't want to. They're so much harder to get off your hood of your car. But it's kind of a gloomy day here in Hoosier Land. And the rain is supposed to turn into tomorrow, I think, into snow, which will be the first time we had snow in Indiana this season, if that's the case. And they're calling for just a light dusting, maybe up to an inch or so. So we'll see if that actually transpires. I surely hope not, but it could easily be that. And that always makes the first real significant drop in temperature that causes the weather to rain and things turn into snow or little icy roads is always a rough first couple of days into the office. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But I'm hoping, first of all, I hope we avoid any real bad weather, but definitely don't want a treacherous drive into the office, that's for sure. So yeah, so far so good. What about you, man? I'm assuming you got your coffee or your tea and you're starting your morning. There in the Great White North. Oh man, the crazy. Oh my gosh! Come on, let's go. Let's do this. Let's go. We got these drivers drive so slow. There we go. Now he's picking up a bit. I know here next week, is it next week? Yeah, next week's Thanksgiving. So I'm pretty excited about that, as probably a lot of Americans are excited about it. It used to be when I was a kid growing up in the olden days that you had the day after Thanksgiving, which is Black Friday, off. Well, now I don't know if this is just like a local thing or this is a across the United States thing. Now the kids get Wednesday off too, so they get Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I just think like, and then like 2 weeks after that, they go, but they take another 2 weeks off for Christmas time, and it's mind boggling. Like, you know, it's like these kids spend more time at home than they do in school half the time. I'm about ready to head out myself. There you go. You know the drill. You know the drill, my friend. But yeah, it's crazy that they give the kids an extra day off. And it's like, really, it's not for the kids. It's really the teachers. The teachers just want more days off, and they don't want to go into school and teach. I mean, because the kids are going to do whatever the kids are told to do. I mean, that's just the facts. That's the facts, Jack. And so they're like, oh, well, we want Wednesday off too. And so they're going to get Wednesday off. So now they get 3 days in the entire week off, come back and work for basically 2 weeks. And when I say work, I mean lots of movies and TV shows and arts and crafts time because it's Christmas. So it's just like basically a whole month of just like shenanigans until the new year rolls around. So yeah, it's kind of silly that way, but that's the way it is. I used to work in the school system, so I know the game plan. I know how they do things. So, but yeah, so we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I'm debating on if I'm going to stay here in the Indianapolis area, or am I going to head down to my hometown area of Louisville, Kentucky. So yeah, we'll see. We shall see what I end up doing. I'm not for sure yet. I'm still debating, like I said. But yeah, we'll find out. I'm pretty excited about all the different kinds of meals we can get ourselves into. So that's definitely something I'm thinking about. I'm like, oh yes, the food will be delightful, as so many people think about. There's certain types of food that you only get during Thanksgiving, really, or at least for the most of us, unless your family member is like a known celebrity chef, then maybe you get all kinds of meals like this on a regular basis. But for most of us normies, Thanksgiving and Christmas is the time of the year where you get a lot of the meals that you normally don't get during that time frame. So I try to hit up, if I get invited to any Christmas parties, Thanksgiving dinners or whatever, any kind of holiday soirees, I'm like always up for it. That is for sure. That is for sure. When I used to work for Xerox, we used to do I was a trainer at Xerox, and we used to do a Thanksgiving pitch-in with the class that you're training. And by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, usually you've been in the class already for a month and a half. So you every day with each other, you kind of get to know each other and kind of get to somewhat close, as close as you can be as coworkers, because you're in a training environment for days on end, nonstop. So if you're there for a month or longer, by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, you're kind of feeling like a little bit of a family, I guess you can say. And we would do these pitch-ins. And it was the first time that I had ever had sweet potato casserole. And oh my gosh, my mind was blown. I'm like, where have you been my entire life? This lady made this sweet potato casserole, and I just was like, wow, holy guacamole. Because sweet potatoes is a popular thing during Thanksgiving. My mom made this sweet potato dish with marshmallows and something or another on it, or whatever. And I was never a huge fan of it. No offense, Mom, if you ever watch this. But it wasn't never a big thing. I don't know if it was, this is not my thing. But this lady comes in with this sweet potato casserole, which initially I was like, nah, I don't know about this. Because again, my only experience was what I had in the past. And it was not anything to write home to Mom about, or my mom, or to tell her directly, because it was, I didn't have to write to her. I could just tell her face to face. And this woman brings in this sweet potato casserole, and it forever changed my life. It was so good. So yeah, it was definitely something I look forward to now, going to different people's homes and trying different kinds of foods that you normally wouldn't eat. So it's pretty awesome. It's always look forward to these kind of times of the year now because, different people bring different things, like different family traditions, different cultural things. And, and you get to break bread figuratively and literally. And that's always fun because, people come from different parts of the United States. They might be from different backgrounds, might be different ethnic groups. They might add add things to their repertoire that you don't normally have, and that's really cool. That's something I look forward to. And so, yeah, I really like that. There was a dish that I'd never had before. And I mean, again, it's not a Thanksgiving-based dish necessarily, but my ex, she loves to do bacon asparagus and like cook it in the oven with like the bacon, crusty, crunchy bacon that gets into the asparagus. I never had that for Thanksgiving, and I'm not saying that's a Thanksgiving dish per se. That's one of her go-tos. And man, that is so good. And I mean, that's not something we get every day. And again, I'm not saying it's a holiday-based dish, but that's when I've kind of attributed now to the holidays because that's when I pretty much get it to have it is during that time frame. And man, asparagus bacon, yep, that's a keeper. So yeah. I don't know if anybody else has any kind of traditions of either food or drink. I never had before years ago with one of my old bosses also. They had a Christmas. I don't know how. I was an adult when this happened, obviously. But I was invited to one of my boss's Christmas breakfasts on Christmas morning because they were from New York. And they weren't from here, so they didn't have like a big family, get together anymore because they're down here and they didn't want to travel all the way to upstate New York. They were from the Buffalo area for Christmas, so they invited people from our office and we wanted to come and spend time with them. And so I was like, sure, I'll go. So I went there because I thought it'd be fun. And at I don't even know what time of the morning it was. It was early though. Let's say 7 or 8 a.m. They wanted us to get there because they all my family members who lived there had kids that were younger. So of course the kids were excited about Christmas, which you could expect. I remember his wife and I think his mother-in-law, as soon as I walk in the door, so I guess at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, they already had mimosas going. And I didn't even know what a mimosa was. And I was probably in my 30s. Never heard of drinking in the morning. I mean, obviously I understood that stuff happens, but I've never witnessed it. I never partook in it. I didn't hang around with people, at least I was aware of, that would drink in the morning, and even though it was like an orange juice, champagne, which is what a mimosa is, from my understanding. And I remember just being blown away. And it was like, oh yeah, this is our family tradition. Like when the kids are getting up and we're just relaxing at the house and just kind of easing in the morning, we're having our holiday mimosas or whatever. And so they're drinking their orange juice / champagne drinks. And I remember just being like, wow, this is a real thing. Okay, you're on Christmas morning, we're having alcohol at like 7 a.m. And I wasn't about to be like, no, I'm going to pass on that. I was like, okay, I'll do it. I would definitely want to be in the cool group. I didn't want my boss to be like, what do you mean, you too good? Are you a teetotaler? Are you too good to have a mimosa with us? So I was like, let's do the mimosas. So yeah, so just like things like that. I mean, I'm sure I can go on and on and on, but those are some things I think about. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the holiday next week. It'll be interesting to see how busy we are at the office today and the next couple of days into the week. Usually things slow down because people travel and no one's really thinking about, heading off to do work at different offices. They tend to want to take care of their personal belongings and personal situations at home and not worry about it. So it'll be interesting to see if we have much traffic this week. So yeah, we'll see. But anyways, guys, that's about it. I guess I'm gonna head off here. I'm almost at the old job. Hope it was entertaining for you as it was for me. It's always a good way to ease into the morning and kind of just get some things off your mind and off your chest and have maybe some spirited or lively debates or discussions. And I look forward to having it again down the road with you guys. So until next time. Peace.